Hello, everybody, and welcome to Perspectives. I'm your host, Sam Jones, and we're going to kick off today with Kristina Watkins with the Gatesway Foundation. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's very
nice
glad to have you on board.
Thank you.
You guys are so involved. You're dealing with folks that are either mentally or physically impaired.
Correct.
And before we kick this off, I was talking with you just before we started taping. Mm-hmm. There's an area I don't understand, and that area is their caregivers are aging.
Right.
And when they reach a certain point, they're going to die.
Right.
And when they do, what happens to these folks?
So that truly is the age-old question. We've been asking ourselves that for years and having these discussions internally. And so a lot of what we've tried to do to mitigate some of that, because if they don't qualify for services, if they don't meet certain standards with the state of Oklahoma Nursing Home Administration, all sorts of these regulatory people, they don't qualify for services at Gatesway or other facilities like ours at all. So where do we come in to fill the gap for those aging loved ones who are caring for these people? And so what we did to kind of mitigate that as a starting point was we put together an information desk, if you will, with our admissions, our staff that does our admissions into Gatesway. And so if we don't have any openings, or if they're just calling for information, they can call and talk to her, and she can provide different resources, different avenues that they can travel down if we can't be the ones to support them. But that truly is the question that is the struggle to answer. We've been to the state to talk about it. We've been up to Capitol Hill to talk about it. It's one of those questions that we just cannot seem to find the proper answer to yet, but we're still digging.
Don't mean to get political.
Sure.
But how are the children in Oklahoma City behaving with this issue? Are they sympathetic to your plight?
They are. In general, for the most part, they are. There are some that aren't quite as sympathetic to it as others, mostly because they're focused on other issues that are going on, things like that. But we do have quite a few representative senators that really have come to campus. They've seen the mission, they've met the friends, they've talked to us, and are buying into exactly why this is needed and why it's such a special population that they need their support.
There's so many questions floating around my head. I don't quite understand how you guys are able to negotiate the minefield of caring with people that you have to grab by the ears and yell in their face to get their attention.
It's about re-education, really, is what we found out. So just the terminology alone, for example, of how to address the IDD community or people with disabilities has changed so many times over the last 2 decades. I mean, the use of the R word is still very apparent. I've seen it on social media many, many times over. And the entire world on this side of the world is trying to re-educate everybody on proper terminology, proper language, things like that. Mm-hmm. Those who are affected by the population or by being part of the population, whether it's a loved one, whether it's a coworker, a friend, they understand and they're sympathetic to it and they buy into it because they understand the need. It's those who don't think that they know somebody with a disability that are the ones that we've got to kind of pull in and go, this is why it's important. This is why these people are important. They're still humans. They're still citizens. They're your neighbors. I mean, they contribute to society just like everybody else. So.
You have, acquired $7 million?
Yes.
How?
We mostly through grants and donations. We've had some really, really great partners between nonprofit organizations, faith-based organizations, for-profit organizations. We've had some private donors. We currently serve about 130 people to this day, at this moment, and on average we serve about 300 people a year. What? And so parents and guardians are also part of that have helped to support this campaign to get new homes for their friends and their loved ones. Any dollar is a contributing factor. It doesn't matter whether it's $1, whether it's $1,000, whether it's $10,000. everybody can play a part in making this happen and helping us set these standards. Our capital campaign is setting standards capital campaign, because we're trying to set standards for new housing for this entire population, because what they have right now is it's just not it.
But surely you, and I'm not faulting you, but surely begs the question here, some of the folks are going to be with you for life.
Absolutely. Some have been.
That means
They truly have been.
your staff's going to have to grow as well.
Exactly. It is a constant give and take of growth of friends, growth of staff. The thing that we have in our favor with the way that things are structured currently is that we are capped on our campus in Broken Arrow of how many people we can have with how many houses that we have. So 64 people is the cap right now that can live on campus. And out in the community, there's not really a cap, but we kind of keep it to a certain amount with what housing we have available now. We're expanding that with new housing, but it's, yeah.
Do you have battles to fight when it comes time to build?
Absolutely. We're fighting battles all over with the community, we're working really well with the city of Broken Arrow. There have been a few battles here and there with some of the terminology and language, but it comes with the territory. But there have definitely been some battles that we have been fighting.
It seems to me like, and you never know who's going to step up and say, I don't want those folks next to me.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want them in this area.
Oh, yeah.
Get them out in the country.
Yeah.
What do you do with that?
You don't. I mean, you have to teach the people that live next to these people that they should not be segregated and alienated to the community or out to the country, because our campus is in the heart of Broken Arrow. It is half a mile from downtown. I mean, it is right there. And really, it's all about integration into the community with these friends, because they want to be full-fledged community members. They want to give back. They want to live independently. They want to work in the community. And so it takes living in not a rural area or out in the sticks to be able to do that, or to put them in a compound, because they're not someone to be put to the side because you just don't want them near. You should pull them in and love them and surround yourself with them, because I tell people all the time, if I'm having a bad day, I will go out on that campus. I'll spend 30 minutes hanging out with friends, and it will just turn my day right around.
You know, I recall years ago, Zebco
Yes.
was heavily involved
Yes.
with employing some of the folks that, that needed your attention.
Right.
And I mean, by golly, they put them to work, and they put them on salary.
Mm-hmm. They did.
Like assembling reels, the Zebco 33, for example, and marrying them to rods, and then shrink wrapping them. And each one had a job to do, and did it very well.
Yes.
And in some cases, better than folk who had no handicap or disability at all.
Right. They're very hard workers. I mean, you give them a task, especially if it's something that they want to do or a goal, they're going to achieve it, because they're going to prove to the world that they can. And they're dependent, they're reliable, they're going to show up, they're going to do a good job, they're usually going to stay late. They're great, great employees. And they were a wonderful partner for us. We have quite a few employee community partners.
And they deserved our embrace.
Amen. They do.
Katrina, thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate you more than you know. And would you come back?
I absolutely would love to.
I'd love to know how this ebb and flow goes for you.
Yes, I would
Good.
love to.
We'll talk more down the road.
Sounds great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Short break. We'll be back with more right after this.